retired as a lieutenant. Also Smith. But here's this is used to work. We worked together and worked for him right before I retired. I think he worked for him as a lieutenant. That's how he's a lieutenant now. He's a captain. This is Captain Portis here, and he's going to talk to you. I wanted him to come. Excuse me. I wanted him to come because he's currently working in the department, and I know there may not be great changes. But I know there may be a few changes since I retired. So that's why I want somebody currently that still works in the department. But I'm basically I'm trying to use voice, and I'll probably just chime in a little bit. As I told you, I'd say a little bit. I started in corrections. I was in prison. Some of you may have heard of Madison Correctional. At the year I started there was 1987. It was a brand new prison at that time. And at that time, Ohio was building prisons because the population was going up, and I think the vision then was to add more prisons. So it's time that we opened up. They had another prison that had opened up right before us, which was Dayton Correctional, which is now women. It was men then. DCI. We had Ross Correctional. We all opened about the same time. Ross, I'm not sure. We may have opened before them, but maybe I don't know. In Allen Correctional. But we were all about around the same time. And then CRC, which stands for Correction and Reception Center, that's where it was opened about the same time that we did at Madison. The reception center, like when you, once you're like, you had, I know you had the judge in here Monday, Judge Rastack. Once say he sentences a guy, would you say, for instance, and the guy does what we call county time. You know, he's maybe downtown here doing his county time, and maybe waiting on a date. Maybe he's been already sentenced, maybe waiting on a date. Once he leaves that county, he goes to reception, what we call a reception center, and he may do 2 months there, 3 months there. Don't know how much time they give you, and it's called CRC. And at that time, some guys they remain CRC for a little bit longer than others, depending on their security status. They look for a parent institution. So used to be, I think they made some changes. Used to be that a lot of times if a guy requests, if they were bed sometime, he might try to stay close to home. Say a guy from Springfield might request Madison or London, and they might grant that. It may not, depending on what the situation was. That's what it used to be. I don't know if it's changed much or not. But like I said, I started there in '87, brand new prison. There was only second group of officers that were hired. I was a correction officer. The first group, there was one group in front of us. I was the second group that hired. There was probably 25 of us. So I don't know, maybe it was a big class. They were just opening up the prison. At the time that I started, they weren't ready to open Madison. It was still, they still hadn't been turned over all good. They had some buildings had some things added. So I actually did what they call on the job training, OJT. I actually did that at London Corrections across the street. So I was there for about 6 weeks. I did my training. Then we came over to Madison, got it ready for open house, and spent the rest of my time at Madison. But I'll say this, and I'll let Captain Portis speak. But very good, a very rewarding career can be. It's not. I always tell people all the time. I still believe, even being retired, it's not for everybody. Not everybody can work in corrections, but it's a great career. A lot of opportunities. There's opportunities for advancement. There's opportunities to do things. So it's something that one day as you all older, it may be a career that maybe you may have an interest in. But very, like I said, I call it a very good profession, but a very serious profession. It's not a place where you go in and you don't realize your surroundings. We used to talk about things in there like observation skills. Have to be keen and sharp. Always paying attention to what's going on around you. Sometimes it's very important. It becomes very important. There's a lot of things to it, but it's, like I said, it can be a very rewarding career, but a very serious career. I'm going to turn it over to Captain Portis. I may chime in a little bit, but I'll let Captain here. Captain Portis.
How y'all doing?
Good.
All right. I'm fine. First off, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Richard Portis. My nickname Around here is Shorty. Okay? Okay. Like Mikilos was saying, I'm gonna slow it down so y'all will understand exactly what we're talking about. Everything that he said was true. Mikilos retired. He worked 31 years. I came up under him, became a supervisor. He was always a pleasant person to be around, okay? So, when I'm talking to y'all, I want y'all to pay attention to me, okay? Because what I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to get too in depth because this is the Lord's house. But I can tell you some things that'll blow your mind, even if being a kid, okay? Because we're at Madison, when Mikilos was there, and when I was there, we had juveniles. I know what juveniles are, right? Okay, juveniles. The juveniles that we had, these guys were anywhere from 14, 15, 16 years old. To get to Madison at that time, as being a juvenile, you had to have done something really bad to where as though they bound you over as an adult. Then they sent you to Madison. So, what I'm trying to say, kids your age, they doing things that will lead to them being incarcerated. So, y'all have a chance and you have a choice. Okay? The choice is, when you're out there, there's gonna be kids your age that want to do things that y'all know not right. The best thing for you to do is not go with that kid or do what that kid does. Because you don't always have to be the one doing it, but if you're around this person while they're doing it, you're gonna be associated with it. Okay? I really want y'all to listen to me because I don't want to bore you, but I want to make sure that y'all feel what we're talking about. See, I can come here in this uniform and tell you things about it. But if you was actually to go see it, it'll blow your mind. If we wasn't in this church, I would tell y'all some things that would actually have you thinking like, that's not where I want to go. And it's not to say that y'all going there, but like I said, anything can happen when you're outside in civilization. Okay? I worked at Madison 22 years. I promoted as a lieutenant at Madison. And I just promoted to a captain. I'm no longer at Madison, I'm at Franklin Medical Center. It's located in Columbus, Ohio. It's more like a medical center. We have a lot of offenders that are old, they are sick, but we still have regular inmates that we call cadre. Okay? Me being here today is, I know y'all a little bit younger, but I hope that you can understand that going astray, doing things that's wrong, it's not right. So, once again, I want to hear everybody's name. What's your name?
My name is Tazy.
K who?
TV.
KB.
Tay.
What's your whole name?
My whole name
K what?
Tay White. Tay, I'm Vernon White, Russell White the
Okay, what's your name?
My name is
Fifth. Okay, what's your name?
Emmanuel Howard.
Name Howard. What's your name? I want to know your real name. You had to think about your real name?
No.
What's your real name? Huh? Levon James? What's your name? Tyrese Marshall. Okay, little man, I want you to pay attention to me, okay? Because playing, sometimes it gets you caught up, okay? What I'm saying to you, and I'm here to talk to you about, is real, okay? You being young, like I said before, I dealt with kids probably just a little older than you. And like I said, it ain't got to be you doing it, but if you're around somebody that's doing wrong, you're going to be implicated in doing the wrong too. Okay? So I want you to pay attention, all right? You can have your fun after I'm done. 'Cause I was asked to come here, and I'm just bringing the knowledge and the experience that I've learned. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all a couple little stories. It might not affect you, but in my career, being inside the fence, that's inside the prison, I've seen people get shanked. What shank is somebody make a weapon and they stab. Okay, I've seen that. I've seen people get chemicals thrown on them, such as hot water, baby oil, mixed with sugar, and put it in the microwave and heat it up and throw it on you, and your flesh is coming off your body. I've seen that. Okay? These are the things that happen on a daily basis. We all go inside the fence, and we all want to make it outside. Okay? I've seen big guys who thought like they couldn't get beat. I've seen a big guy get his eye knocked out by a smaller guy. It doesn't matter your size when you're in prison. It's a survival. It doesn't matter because you're big. That don't mean nothing. The biggest guy can be the softest guy. Okay? It's really, you don't even want to find out what it's about. I talked 3 weeks ago down at the Clark County Juvenile Detention Center. Kids y'all age.
You know somebody named Jimmy? He go by Blue Walk.
Jimmy, yeah, my little cousin.
At the,
I know, it's my little cousin.
that's my cousin too.
Okay. So, back to what I was saying. I talked to some of them kids. Some of them kids got some pretty serious charges on them. A lot of gun charges, you know. There was some sexual charges as far as rape. What I'm hoping to get today is hopefully I'm not saying that you guys are in trouble, because right now y'all in the right place. But if I can save somebody and help somebody change their life, because see, everything that y'all do, y'all parents don't see, a grown-up don't see. We was kids before. So if I can just turn one person's life around, I'm happy with that. Okay? Now, back to some of my experiences. I've seen guys dealing with mental health issues. You know what mental health issues are?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of to be on medication inside the prison to help you function. You know, some guys out here wilding out, doing everything to get to prison. When you get to prison, you can't cope with it, because it ain't what you thought it was gonna be. Don't be that guy that want to go to prison just to prove to somebody that you was tough. Because guess what you really are? You're stupid. Prison. Me growing up, I did things that were bad. I can't say I did everything right. But I learned a long time ago that prison wasn't where I wanted to be, even when I was doing wrong. Then when I started working in the prison, I'm like, this is crazy. This is where I was trying to get to. You can't call your mom or your dad. You can't call them. Only when it's time to call them. You can't call them when you were there and somebody at you with a weapon, somebody at you with that hot chemicals that I just told y'all about. You can't call your parents. You can't. Because guess what? They can't come and go inside and fist when they want to. Nah, it don't work like that. So what I'm here to say to y'all today, fellas, like I said, y'all don't look like none of y'all are really doing anything bad. But if you're doing something that you shouldn't, it'll come to your life. What I mean by that, if you're doing something wrong, eventually you're gonna get caught. Eventually. The slickest the person with the most game, where they think you're gonna get caught. And it ain't fun, fellas, okay? It's not fun. Don't be that one that had to go just to find out. Remember, somebody told you that it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. Okay, I got a little story for you. I just got a guy at my institution at Franklin Medical Center. He's at, I'm not sure what institution he was at, but when he came to Franklin Medical Center, his cellie had pulled out both of his eyes. Pulled both of your eyes. Can you imagine that? Getting both of your eyes pulled out and flushed them down the toilet. This is what we're talking about. This is what you're gonna be dealing with if you try to go that route. That's the things you're gonna be dealing with. You're gonna be dealing with people that are crazy. Crazy. You're gonna deal with people that are racist. You're gonna deal with all that. So your best chance is to be out here in civilization where you can enjoy your family, your friends, you can go to school, get educated, and hopefully you might, like Mikilos said, you could probably end up working in this profession, but it's not for everybody. Because there are people that work in this profession that do bad things. They take drugs, they take phones, everything into the offenders.
When they sell like stuff on top of
Now, you know what I'm saying? They selling it, but when you start doing that, you work for the offenders, even though you be wearing a uniform. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop doing it. Once you do it once, it's over. Okay? No, not addicting. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Because if you work and you're an offender, and I bring you something from the outside, I pretty much work for that offender, because he gonna either use that against me, or he gonna eventually tell that I did it. You're not allowed to deal with the inmates in no type of way. Okay? So I'm gonna say a couple little more things, then I'm gonna let y'all ask some questions, and I'm gonna let y'all get about your way. But when Mikilos called me, I was more than glad to come and speak. This is my way of giving back. I surely don't mind doing it. Even if y'all see me out sometime, y'all can come up to me and reintroduce yourself. Hey, I'll talk to you. I want y'all to do what's right. Because if you don't, your life can change in a second. That fast. Don't think you got all the time in the world. If you're doing wrong, it can happen that fast. Okay? All right, so I've came into units where dealing with a guy with mental health issues who cuts himself. He's got his whole guts laying in his hand. Cuts his whole stomach open, and his insides are laying in his hands. Y'all want to see that on a daily basis?
No.
Yeah, some of that. Guys cutting their arms, cutting their wrists. Guys hanging themselves because they can't take it. Prison wasn't what it was cracked up to be. They try to prove something to somebody, and they can't take it. I've seen guys hang themselves. Seen guys attempt to hang themselves. You got gangs in there. You got drugs in prison. So, fellas, what I'm trying to say is prison ain't for me, so it should definitely not be for y'all. It's not for Mikilos. You know, Mikilos did it the right way. I'm doing it the right way. I have 8 more years left, and then I'll be retired. Lord willing, I'll make it there. I'm gonna be proud of myself, because I could have been in there. And if I do something wrong, I can go there. They ain't gonna not take me if I do wrong. Okay? But I ain't doing nothing to get caught. That's over with me, okay? That's over. I see it every day. Why would I want to go do it? Don't make sense, do it. No, it never will. Okay? See, y'all only see it, we just telling you about it. Some people gotta go actually see it and then don't want, like, bro, cry, mom, nah, your mom can't come. Your daddy can't come. You got to do that time that they sentence you to do. So what I'm saying is, if by today, if any of you guys is doing something that maybe you shouldn't be, I don't want you to tell us. I want you to change it around. Change it around, man. Who want to be cool when you got to be doing wrong just to be fitting with somebody? That ain't cool. That's stupid. That's stupid. See, everybody want to be the one to show off and do this and that. Sometimes it's okay just fall back. Be who you are. Okay? Don't be the one out there. Everybody, oh yeah, he. Nah, be yourself. Okay? So, I'm gonna open up and y'all can ask some questions. How you doing, man? My name is Richard Portis. Speak up. Okay, go on. Very nice to meet you, man. We're just sitting here talking about my job. I work in prison, correctional facilities. Like I told him once again, my name is Richard Portis, my nickname is Shorty. I've been working in prison almost 24 years. I worked with Mikilos for almost 27 years before he retired. And now I'm looking to retire. What I was telling the young men before you came is telling them some stories about things that happen inside the fences. Okay, as far as we seeing guys get shanked, we seeing guys get hot oil, baby oil, sugar, water, oil in the microwave, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, real hot, and throw it in your face. Your skin peeling off your bones. I've seen this. I've seen guys attempt to hang themselves. I've seen guys hang themselves. That's not the life. That's not the life, fellas.
I know.
It's not. And when we telling you this, we're not just telling you this and we want you to do it. We're telling you this because we don't want you to do it. Y'all better do something with your life, man. Get an education and do whatever you want to do as far as profession. Just don't be a criminal. Criminal's still a human being, but you looked at like the bottom of these people's shoes. That's how you're gonna be treated in prison. You lose all your rights. You have rights as an offender, but you lose all your rights. You don't get to eat when you want to. You don't get to go. You don't get to get on the phone. Who here can visualize being locked up and you never get to touch money no more? I'm gonna get to you. Who can visualize that? That's what's gonna happen if you go to them places. See, the place don't ask for you to come. You bring yourself to the place. Prison didn't ask for all the people that's locked up to come. They did something to get there. Some guys ain't never coming home.
Right.
And at y'all age. I've seen 14, 15-year-olds that's doing 50 years. You know what 50 years, if you 50 years, guess how old you would be? 65. No, it ain't your half your life, that's your whole life. We don't live in Methuselah times no more. We don't live hundreds of years. You might make it 100. That's your life. I've seen kids doing 25 years, their life, 15 years old. And in my mind, while I'm working there, I'm like, what in the world is this kid doing out in civilization, and he's in here for the rest of his life? Teenagers, man, don't even know their life is done. They just running around Because they locked up. They young, wild, young. Don't even know that in 25 years, you still gonna be here. 25 years, you still gonna be there. While life going on, while your mom's growing up, while your kids, your brothers, sisters, your friends, everybody, life ain't gonna stop because you locked up. Everybody gonna keep going on about their business. Sometimes they gonna forget about you because you're gone. That's why I say, I'm gonna let you answer some questions. I want you to hear what I'm saying, and I'm gonna answer your question. I want y'all to hear that it's not the place to go. Not even if you gotta go to detention center. Don't start that. Yeah. I told them little kids when I was down there, I had their attention, but you still gotta pay for what you do to get you here now while I'm talking to you. You gotta pay for that. I ain't gonna just let you go because I came to talk to you. If I could stop you and help somebody today, that was my goal. When Mikilos called me and asked me, I was more than ecstatic because if this is my way to help and give back, I'll do it. I ain't asking for no charge or nothing. I don't mind coming to tell these stories because see, when I look in your eyes, I can see that you're paying attention. And it's real. I bring no lies. Everything I told you, I ain't even really cracked the surface. Mikilos know we ain't even really cracked the surface. This is just something to open your eyes. Okay? Like I said, this is the Lord's house, so I don't want to get too deep. And y'all are, young men. So I don't really want to blow your mind. I can have all your hair sticking out. Even you, when you don't got them, I can have you growing a fro. That's how much I can tell you that I've actually seen through these eyes. Okay? So with that being said, I'm gonna open up and let y'all answer some questions. I'm not going to get too in depth with things. But like I said, this is the God's house, and we're gonna respect it. Okay? So anybody have a question?
Captain Portis, before you go to questions, do you mind, was you in Madison when Mikilos was?
No. That happened in '96. I came in '98, and that was the story that they told us about. But you could probably relate on that.
I'm allowing you young men to ask questions. I just want to run this story because, as Captain Portis was talking about a lot of times these young men that you your age, 14, 15, and he's right, they come in and doing 20 to life, 30 to life on charges. But we had a young man, and I'll try not to make the story so too long. We had a young man, this was April 1996. At the time, as Captain Portis told you, we used to have, if you were a juvenile, that got tried as an adult, or what we used to call bound over. So you went to court, and he said, I'm gonna sentence you to, I'm gonna sentence you as an adult. You came to Madison. One time you came to Madison. Madison was the only institution that had people. They had a dorm, they were all together in one dorm under age 18. And once you became 18, you might remain in Madison, depending on what your security status was, you might go somewhere else. Well, this was '96. we had a juvenile dorm. There was 3 young men from Cincinnati, Ohio. And they were part of the gang. I can't remember what they called it, gang. Anyway, that's John's side point. But anyway, there was another juvenile in that dorm. They had jumped him. Basically, had jumped him, beat him up pretty good. Not serious injuries, but they beat him up pretty good. Well, these 3 young men, they were black juveniles. Kid they beat up, he's a white kid. Well, his father was in another prison. His father was we call AB or Aaron Brother. Anybody know what that stands for? Aaron Brother. That's Aaron Brother is a gang. They're all throughout our prisons. They're not just in Ohio. They're in other prisons, and some on the streets as well. They're a gang, basically I would call it a white supremacist type gang. They call it Aryan Brotherhood. You have Aryan Nation. The Aryan nations, the ones considered nations, they consider religion. They say that, but there's a little difference between them and the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood is a gang. So basically, this juvenile's father was Aryan brother in another prison. He writes his dad, tells him, he didn't tell him the whole story. What had happened, he had stole shoes. We found out he stole shoes from these three young men. One of them, he stole their shoes. So they put the beat down on him. But he didn't tell his dad that. Just said, I got to jump by these guys. Well, his father had a little bit of clout in the Aryan Brotherhood gang. And if those of you know anything about gangs, sometimes they have rank. Sometimes it's rank what we have in your law enforcement and military. They call their sergeants, their lieutenants. And he was I don't know what his rank was, but he had rank in the Aryans, like gave a little bit of clout. So basically, he contacted some Aryan adults at Madison and told them, look, they jump my son, take care of him. And that's what they set out to do. So what they did was they stole lawnmower blades out of they had a friend that worked in maintenance. He stole some lawnmower blades for him, sharpened them down, and what he was telling you earlier about shanks and all the homemade knives, they sharpened them down, they sharpened these lawnmower blades down, and they had planned on. The plan was we're gonna run up in this dorm, and we're gonna take care of these guys. That was the Aryans at Madison. We're gonna do this for our what they call their brother in whatever institution he was in. We're gonna do this because they jumped his son. Well, at that time, the way Madison was, we had on our then it was closed security. That was 96. It was closed security. We have two. I'll just try to make an example. We had two doors. If this is this is the dorm, you might have a door. You may have a door here. This is your outer door. So, and then you have a door. Maybe this would be your inner door where I'm standing here. Then you going in the dorm. Well, at that time, because they changed the policy, we locked both doors. But at that time, the outer door stayed unlocked during count. We have what we call institutional count in the prison. There's two. I think it hasn't changed since I retired. There's usually 2 counts, I think, per shift, I believe.
It's
First shift has 2, second shift has 2, third shift has 2. And what them counts are for, and not to get too much at, but that's accountability. Make sure we got everybody. Make sure we have nobody's missing. We don't know where somebody is, so we count everybody. And so they go through, the officers in the dorms, they count everybody. They do, of course, Cat Portis here, we got to call it, I don't know when they have a count Bible where they see who's out for, who's maybe at the hospital where he works now. Anyway, make sure we got accountability for everybody, nobody's missing. Well, and when we do that, we like everybody, because everybody's just locked down. There's no movement out on our compound, or what we call ER. There's no movement until we get what we call a good count to make sure everybody's counted for. Well, this is what it was. It was count time, and they were counting everybody. Well, these guys already planned. As soon as they clear count, we're going up in this dorm. We're going to take care of these guys, and that's kind of what they did. So there was 5 of them. I can't remember now for sure. What they did, they ran. Say this is the dorm. They ran up in the dorm. There's an officer there. He put the shank to his neck. Said, "Look, we're not here to basically get you. We want your keys." Well, he said, officer at the time, he had a brand new baby on. He said, my job didn't end. I should here, take the keys. They told him, you get on out here, we don't want it. So he went to the door next door to him with the officer there. They started putting chairs and stuff to block the door so the officers couldn't get into him. And what they did was they ran up in the cell. They was going to kill all 3 of them, but they were very fortunate because they ran in, they got the one, start stabbing about almost 40 times, start stabbing with these shanks. He's running around, but they weren't officers. They didn't know how to work the keys properly. How to put them in the locks of the cells, so they bent them. So it was no good to them. So that's why they decided they was going to give up. But before they did, they stabbed this kid, 40. His name was Mikilos, 17 years old. Stabbed him about 40 times. They showed it to us on video, blood everywhere in the cell, on the wall. So when they couldn't get to him, they decided to give up. So they gave up, and of course they eventually moved this stuff away, and they came and got him. But I tell you, that what he said is very real. I mean, prison's very real. Very real. I mean, it's not a game. Hopefully, you never have to go there. Because it's like he told you, all that stuff he told you about people getting hot stuff poured on them, that stuff happened. Some people, you know, and like he said, we don't go too in detail because you know, it's not necessary, but things happen in prison. Some people get, some guys get taken advantage of, and I'm not going to get too into that, but you probably know what I mean when I say that, right? When they get taken, they come in here sometime and, you know, they do some things to them. I don't want to get too, you know, that. But that's for real. It don't happen, as people say, you know, it can't happen. You know, they decide, you know, they're going to take advantage of it. You may have to fight them off, you may not confine them off. But these things, hopefully you don't have to ever experience that. But these are things that, once you know the prison is really real. It's really real. And hopefully none of you never have to face it. But we've got a population that it gets younger, and they're still coming. As you know, you know yourself, you know, the gang activity is high. I don't care if you're in a big city or a little city. Drug usage is high. There's drugs, and when you're in a big town, big city, there's drug problems. So that the prisons will stay full. That's some reason why they will stay full, because people were committing crimes. But I just wanted you to know that these kind of things that happen. You know, he lost his life at 17 because of, really, to me, not really nothing really shouldn't happen. But these things happen. Yes, sir.
It was the white boy's fault because he stole the guy's shoes and
It was.
he never had them.
It was, but you know, even though it was, it still didn't keep him from losing his life. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. You know, I mean, he didn't tell everything, and you know,
He didn't tell the truth.
he didn't tell the truth.
Yeah.
He didn't tell the truth. But see, it didn't matter. I mean, it didn't matter. And then he lost his life at 17. Never. So like he was saying, you get some guys doing 30, 40 years, they never going home. You get some other guys that may not. They're doing time to go home. But you get another guy like him, they don't go home because they lose their life. Some guys lose their life. Some guys, you know, we had doing that second out about 3 years before that. Now this is an adult prison. We also had a riot. They killed 8. You got it right. They killed 8 inmates and 1 officer.
Yes.
And what they did, they overtook a cell. They had a cell. We have what we call in prison. We have what we call them cell blocks or dorms, and they all cells. That's the way most of we have maximum security, close security. Usually those are all cells. They don't open dorm style like if you're in medium or middle. Sometimes you got dorms, you know, where it's open, we call open bay, open dorm. But these, it looks good. They take over the cell. And when they took it over, they killed some of the guys who they thought were the snitches. They killed what they did. I'll just say this is 6 cell. We'll say this is 6 cell block. Well, it was a dorm, or it was a cell block, but it also attached to that. I don't know if it's like that when they remodeled it, but back then, 93, attached to that was a recreation park area too, where they go out and play softball, and they could do, you know, other weights and they had other things. And what they did, when they took that dorm over, they took that area over too, and they planned that, and they some of the bats when they were told, because we used to have when we did it Madison that time, guy with a bat put it out here in that bat. We get that bat, so we got to count really fast. It's a bat.
Yeah.
Well, but he has to turn it back in, and if they're not through playing, then if he decides he's going to leave, then he got to get somebody else's ID for it, and he got to put his ID on that. But anyway, we got to have some accountability. Well, when they were told to turn the bats back in, they didn't turn the bats back. They started swinging on that. The officers, eventually, they killed some of the inmates with the bats. They also hung some, and of course, an officer got hung as well. But stuff that's really real. That was a 11 day. I think what was that? 11 day. What was it? 11 day ride? 11 days. 11 days. Yep. 11 day ride. This here is of course these two young men, they know him real well. But he also was retired from the Department of Corrections as a lieutenant. Mr. Brother Robson here. And I don't know if you got anything you want to chime in
I'm gonna
before.
have to sit up there with you so I can get you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you got anything you want to chime in or not, but I'm just going to take questions. But if you got anything you can.
Brother Mike, you're kind of, you got your back to the camera. I'm trying to get you all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be getting
Yeah, I want y'all.
But, you know, it's like things he said, though, it's very real, young man. I mean, hopefully, like I said earlier, there's opportunity. It's also a good thing, you know, good place to work. If you know, it's a good place to work. You come in and there's a lot of advancements. I mean, there's people that come in, you know, might come in as an officer and you might go, we call it custody route. You might be, you know, lieutenant, like Brother Rob's here, or you might be captain, like Captain Portis here. Or you might take what we call the treatment route. You might go into unit management. You might go into recovery service. There's a lot of opportunities for you. It's also a good, like I said, it's not for everybody, but it's a good field to work in, but it's a very serious field. I mean, it's not a job, not your average 8 to 4 job where you kind of lackadaisical, you just kind of, you wear your surroundings all the time. And you know, and I'll just tell you, this don't happen to everybody working corrections. I don't know, Captain Portis, maybe Brother Robinson too here. For me, I guess doing 31 years, I sometimes still find myself going places, and they told us this was happening in corrections. And I sit like I'm sitting now, where I want everybody to the front of me. I don't want anybody behind me. We learn that in corrections because that's very important to know where them guys are, what they're doing. You know, I got a guy behind me, say right now, I don't know if he got shanked up or he stabbed me in the back. So I even find myself even now being retired, still sometimes I go in a restaurant, sometimes I look for a plate. It's just common, I guess, I kind of want to sit where I can see everybody. You know, yeah, I mean, it may not be not one inmate in there, but I mean, and that's just, but you learn that to observe, your observation skills got to be keen when you work in prison. You got to know what's going on around you, because that can be sometimes a matter of life and death. And you know, or a guy could be, say a guy might come up to me and I was officer, he might be talking to me, hey, officer here, so. And these two guys over here, man, they might be stabbing each other, they might be fighting, they might be doing some things, some improper things to each other. And you know, you gotta know. So that's the way prison is. But I'm gonna say I think I said my spiel. So if Brother Robinson got anything, or that's it, you can take questions.
Well, all I can say, young man, I probably started that job before any of y'all were born.
Yeah.
And prison is no fun. And I'll tell you what, we would go down to the juvenile center, downtown, where the little boys were at, locked up, set stuff on fire, cutting up in school, ending up in juvenile detention center. Some of those very boys that I talked to down at juvenile center ended up at Madison, right at the prison where I work. So, Captain Portis, he's not sitting up here just looking sharp for nothing. There's a reason for this uniform that he has on. There's a reason behind that badge that he's wearing. Because this is what he goes inside of a prison. How many of you have ever been inside of a prison before? Huh? Have you been downtown before? At the juvenile center? Yeah. See, so here's the thing. It can become a cycle. Have you been to juvenile center before? Yeah. So some of them guys down there, they were in juvie hall, get out, cut up again, go right back. Get out, cut up again, go right back. Have you been down there more than once? Have you been down there more than once? Okay, so this is a wake-up call right now. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to make it a habit, because there's a word called institutionalized, to where they get so used to going to prison, that's all they know. And you get so used to going to juvie hall, and before you know it, the judge's going to say, okay, you over 18 now, I'm sending you to the penitentiary.
Right.
Yep. Heard you.
What's the, say they commit a crime, say armed robbery or something like that. What's the youngest age that they will typically send somebody that commits that type of crime to you guys' institute?
A lot of things has probably changed since I've retired. I've been retired for a number of years.
2014?
2014.
That's when they do road to CRC.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
September 22nd, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, but as far as a juvenile being charged and tried in an adult court.
Yeah, Judge Rastatter was here Monday.
Yeah.
What's usually the youngest age that say a judge would send?
That's a
Maybe
good
Captain,
question.
maybe
I mean,
Captain Portis.
Well, now, like Robbie said, they have changed, you know, they're changing things. But when we was coming up, juveniles, I've had juveniles as young as 14.
That's right.
13.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
In prison.
13,
Yeah.
14, at
So-
Madison.
In an adult prison.
So how old is the oldest person in here? How old are you?
Like 15?
Let's speak up when y'all talking to me.
How old are you? 15? Yep.
So you could be in a big boy prison.
11. I'm about to.
12.
Okay, so what Mr. Robinson is talking about, these guys, they showed me how to be who I was in the institution. Okay, like I said, I wasn't always good. They wanted me to go to prison too.
That's right.
But the thing about me, like I said, when I was doing wrong, I didn't want to go to prison, but I was still doing wrong. And then once I started working in there, and I'm like, this is what I was trying to get to? This what I'm trying to get to? Anybody can do prison, because if they sentence you, you're gonna do it.
That's right.
But I didn't want to do prison. I don't want to do prison. I want to eat when I want to. I want to move when I want to.
That's
You're not
right.
going to do that in prison.
That's
You
right.
can call people and say that you did, but you're going to tell them about them knots that you got on your head.
That's right.
You're not going to do what you want to do in prison, and the staff see you doing it. Now,
right.
the inmate population, you can do what you want to do, but you're not going to do what you want to do. So that's why I say your best chance is to be out here in civilization,
That's right.
where you can live your life, man. Y'all guys is too young to be doing anything
That's right.
that you shouldn't be doing.
That's
See,
right.
see, we was your age. My thing is, yeah, your parents are probably raising you right, but when you leave your parents' sight is the question. See, when you leave your parents' sight, y'all with kids that probably ain't getting the same parenting as y'all are getting. Some of y'all with little partners might be raising themselves,
That's right.
so they doing whatever.
That's right.
That's what I told you. You got a chance and you got a choice. See, when you with somebody, if you with somebody and they doing something wrong, y'all know the difference between right and wrong. They doing something wrong. You better get away. You can't sit there and think about it.
That's right.
You got to move.
That's right.
Because I said your life can change in a second.
And even the small things.
Anything.
Who says bad words? You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to raise your hand. But who cusses? You see what I'm saying? See, that could be a starter right there. So if you cuss into your buddy, okay, what about your teacher? Do you cuss at your teacher? Do you cuss at mom and dad? You see what I'm saying? Why don't you cuss at mom and dad? You may get slapped in the mouth, right? But you're using profanity. Things are coming out your mouth that you know you really shouldn't be saying those words. See, you may be going places that you shouldn't be going. When you go up here to Family Dollar or Dollar General, are you taking stuff out here that you know you shouldn't be taking? And you got away with it? I had a cousin. It became a habit for him of going in the store stealing. Don't you know stealing can become a habit? If you get away with it a few times, man, I got away with it that time, let me try it again. And I'm gonna tell you, as a supervisor working in the prison, when we go into chow hall, okay, we just stand up against the wall. Just stand up against the wall. And we just observe. Okay, and you look over, all of a sudden, inmate Jones's hand goes down real quick. Okay, he got something. Okay, but I'm not gonna go there and bust him over the head right then. I'll wait till he gets up and walks out the chow hall. As soon as he walks out that other door, come here, Jones. What you got on you? How you know? I saw it.
That's our job.
That's our job. We observe, we see things. And when we see things, we can start right here at this age and let you know that going to the juvenile center, that can become a habit. and you go from the juvenile system to the adult system. And you don't ever want that to happen. So whatever you need to change now, you need to change it now. Whether it's the way you're talking to people, the way you're acting, the way you're conducting yourself in school, there are certain things that you know that you should not do. There's something within every man that God has put there. And it's called a conscience. Our conscience will tell us when we're doing things good and when we're doing things bad. When you lie to somebody and you know you're lying, your conscience should hit you where, man, I shouldn't have told that lie. But if you just override that, keep overriding, now next thing you know, you can tell a lie to Captain Portis and don't think nothing of it. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you, steal it. You can start off with a piece of bubble gum. And before you know it, you take the money out of your mom's purse. You're going to your neighbor's house, stealing stuff out of his yard. And before you know it, you're going into the store. Next thing you know, you got a gun, now you're robbing people. See, it don't start off big, it starts off small. And you're at the age now to where something small.
That's right.
And I use the illustration when you're blowing up a balloon. Now, if you keep blowing on that balloon, eventually, what's going to happen? That's right. And that's what's going to happen when you're doing wrong and you know that you're doing wrong. You just keep putting air in that balloon, and eventually it's going to pop. And this is the man that you're going to see. I've been there. He was a correctional officer when I started. Well, when I was an assistant, he came in as a correctional officer. Kind of showed him the ropes.
What is that question?
Huh?
What is that?
What, correctional officer?
What is that?
There's a difference, okay? Captain Portis is a supervisor. So it's almost like you're the boss of these 5 men right here, okay? These guys work for you. You tell them where they're going to work. You tell, what's your name? Emmanuel. You tell Emmanuel when he go get a vacation day. What's your name? Levon. You're going to tell Levon what days he going to have off because you're the boss. You see what I'm saying? These are your officers. They work for you. So this is Captain Portis. He's you. And he has officers up under him who work for him. You see what I'm saying? And they all supervise the inmates. So there's a system that is in place. How many of you got a cell phone? All of you got a cell phone. Let me tell you something, okay? How many of you got an iPad? Huh? See, now, don't you know in the prison system, we also have cell phones, computers. So, if you get locked up downtown, all that information gets put in the computer. You see what I'm saying? If you call yourself a gang member, all that information's in there, and it will follow you down through your life. And if you continue to get in trouble, all of that stuff is stored in that computer, just like you store stuff on your phone. And they have all the information on you. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want that. You don't want to be characterized as one of the bad guys. Huh?
Or somebody.
That's right. Or somebody that always gets in trouble. You don't want to be characterized like that. Because I guarantee you, if there's an inmate in prison, way in southern Ohio, Captain Portis can go to Dayton, get on a computer at a prison in Dayton, and find that inmate that's in southern Ohio. Am I right, Captain?
All your information there for you.
All of it.
So,
All your information.
So you telling me a BS story? I already know what I need to
That's
know when
right.
I bring you in.
Absolutely.
I already know. I
That's
already
right.
know. So,
Yep.
So fellas, like, you got years of experience. And like I said, we know y'all young, but we hoping that, like y'all think about them video games, how that burn in your head, we hoping that these lessons burn in your head.
That's right.
See, after the day, y'all might be like, oh man, whatever. I mean, you still gotta live, don't get me wrong, but you gotta know the right thing to do.
That's right.
You got to.
Right.
Y'all know right from wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with having fun, but when the fun turns wrong, that's when it's over with.
That's right.
You gotta be able to get away. And if your friend think you're supposed to be down with that, that's not a friend.
Right. That's right. Yep.
If your friend doing wrong, I'm not going down for nobody.
That's right.
If I want to get in trouble, I know how to get in trouble myself. Okay? So, like I said, we didn't come to bore you. We know you're young, but it starts young. Like I said, we've seen kids your age running around like it wasn't nothing, but ain't never. There's some kids that we've seen that's still locked up.
Yep.
And guess what? Got 20 more years to do. Yeah, some of that. Some of that.
That's right.
15. They might not see you again till you 45. Tell me how that works out.
Yep.
That don't, man. And y'all being young black males, it's really bad for y'all.
That's right.
It's really bad. Because that's what they want y'all to be. That's where they want y'all to be. Change it. You gotta break the cycle.
That's right.
Do something with your life, man. Okay? Look, I can tell you this. My worst day out here being free ain't got nothing on being in prison. I'll be out here with just mad. I'd just rather be out here than to be in prison.
That's right.
See, I can be out here and be mad and still do what I want to do when I want to do it. You're not going to do that there. You'll just be mad and scared.
Yes.
So, fellas, I'm gonna remember y'all faces. I'm gonna see y'all around. Like we ain't trying to put too much on you. We just trying to save lives.
Right. That's right.
You know, we really is, man.
That's right. And one of the main things that you all should be worried about right now, we're not even worried about, but that you should be really focused on, and that's your schooling.
Yeah.
See, your schooling and putting God first in your life.
Yes.
See, you put God first in your life, everything else will fall in line. You don't have to worry about getting yourself in trouble. You don't have to worry about doing things, saying things to your mother or your father and going off the deep end. I'm telling you, Jesus is the answer. Is that the theme of Vacation Bible School? Jesus is the answer. But
You all are talking about prison, and there's a spiritual application. Can you tie in the natural prison and then the spiritual prison of sin? Can you tie that together for them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. You know,
Or Mike, it don't matter.
there was a guy, Walter Smith. Y'all remember Walter Smith? Now he may be gone by the time you got there, Portis, but Walter Smith was the dude that was charged with rape. He had a rape charge, and he was doing 11 years in prison. But he was innocent. But he was locked up. He was incarcerated. They eventually found him not guilty, and they released him. Well, the night before he left prison, he came up to me. I was a sergeant at the time. He said, "Sarge, I can't sleep. I can't sleep." Now, he had done all this time in prison and is about ready to be released the next day. Can you imagine how that felt after being incarcerated for 11 years? Huh? 11 years. Who said they were 11 years old? So, you weren't even born yet, and Walter Smith was doing time, 11 years, and then they let him out. But that's the same way it is when it comes to salvation. See, the devil has people locked up, incarcerated. They got them locked up over drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever the devil can throw on you, he's going to put it on you. If he can give you a habit, smoking habit, drinking habit, whatever he can put on you where he can bound you up and incarcerate you lock you up. See, that's a bad situation to be in. Just like in prison. That's a bad situation to be in. But God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross to free you from the hands and that grip that the devil has on you. See, and he can set you free. That's why Jesus Christ died on the cross, to set man free. Just like in prison. Okay? There's a song saying, like a bird out of prison that's taking its flight, like a bird in a cage. That bird can't fly nowhere. He can just fly, just back, can't go nowhere. But you open that cage door, what that bird gonna do? Huh? You gonna fly away. That's the same way it is. That's what God can do for you. That's what God can do for your mom, for your dad, or whoever, if they're bound by something. If you're seeing things that maybe you shouldn't see, even as a 14 or 15-year-old. You know, if you're looking at things on a computer that you shouldn't be looking at, listening to things, listening to some of this rap music with all this profanity and stuff in it. You know, the devil wants to wrap you up. Have you ever seen a spider, when a fly hits a spider web? What does that spider do?
That spider wraps
You gotta speak up, bro.
Speak up. That's it.
first it wraps
Okay. So you say he wraps him up, right? So when that fly lands in that spider web, that spider wraps him up. That's what he said. It just waits. Then he'll go back and eat. Tell him. Same way that the devil will do to you. He'll try to wrap you up. Wrap you up. That's what he wants to do. That's why he's up in trap.
What he's saying pretty much is, the devil will have you thinking that wrong is right.
Right.
Okay? Wrong can never be right. When it starts out wrong, it's always going to be wrong. All right, fellas? Like once again, we just want this to sink in and hopefully y'all get it. Like I told the kids down at the detention center a couple weeks back, I begged them kids. I begged them. You ever had an adult baby to do right? I begged them just to do right.
Yeah.
We know outside there's a lot coming at you.
There he is.
But you got, like you said, you got a chance and a choice.
That's right.
Always got a chance and a choice.
That's right.
Chance to do right, a choice to get away from wrong.
That's right.
So, that being said, fellas, this day you got a day that you can turn it all around. You know, like I said, if your friend is expecting you to do wrong, that's not a friend. But if you're trying to prove to your friend, then eventually you're gonna get what you're talking about. So, with that being said, if y'all have any questions, I'm gonna answer and then I'm gonna get out y'all way for today. If you don't have this, it's okay.
You got what your question was? You got any questions, Tyrese? Okay. Any questions?
So how do y'all feel about us talking about, prison and, juvenile? How do y'all feel about that? Speak up, speak up.
Was it helpful? Is it helpful? Yeah. Don't be influenced by somebody that's negative. Or somebody that's going to try to get in trouble.
It helped me by like not trying to be so much of a mom.
lay it on
That's being true. That's right.
I think it's helping awareness, like real world. It's like once we turn 18, it's not like everyone's gonna buy stuff for you. It's like everything's for you. It's like, I mean, you can get some help. You're not doing it alone. Like you go out and go get your own job and stuff like that.
And where does that start? See, that's the start now. You see what I'm saying? You have to get in a routine. See, there's some dudes, don't you know there were some grown men, some grown men, and I know Captain Portis can back me up on this one. There were some grown men incarcerated in prison that we would have to tell them, look, you come to my office, I'm giving you a bar of soap, I'm giving you a towel, I'm giving you a washcloth, you get up there and you get in that shower right now. Because you've been walking around here, playing basketball all day, going to the gym, working out, coming back to your cell, laying in your bed, and don't even think about taking a shower. And here you are, 35 years old. You think that started when he got into prison? No. It started when he was your age. See, and y'all are at the age now. Smell your underarms, okay? You wear deodorant? That's right. You take showers. See, that's one of the main things, one of the main problems that inmates have in prison when you get a cellmate who don't take showers. See, there are some things that you have to start now. And as you get older, it's going to be in you. It's instilled in you. And being clean, that's one thing. You got to take a shower.
You definitely do.
Personal hygiene, young men. Wear deodorant, clean underwear.
I got a question for you. So, your officers, you all that work at the prison, I work for the fire department, obviously. We have what's called a grooming policy. You guys have a grooming policy?
Yeah, we have a grooming policy, which is pretty much like a dress code. This is the normal dress code for custody staff. You gotta have your proper, you gotta have your flag, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have your passes. Without that, officer come in, I'm gonna check you. I'm gonna check you like, you're not in the proper uniform or tie. Just because of the gray shirt that doesn't make it a CO. Okay, so you wanna look professional. But see, I just don't just look this way, I do it that way.
That's right.
I stay the same. See, when I'm inside the fence, my job is to be fair, firm, and consistent. Not to have to like somebody, because I'm not there for that. Fair, firm, and consistent. That's it. And that's what I do. I'm fair, I don't mess with people just because I can. That makes it a hard day. Well, I come to work to get my job done and go home. Our job is to make it in there and make it out.
So would you say that if they went to go for a job interview, how should they present themselves? Any of the three of you all can answer that.
You can go for an interview, say just a COU, nice shirt, top, at least a dress shirt, black dress shoes, keep yourself tidied up, good cut. You want to look the part.
That's right.
You want to sell yourself. You can't go in there with your hair all over, thinking that they're gonna let you be in their institution. No, you're not. You got to keep yourself squared away. Okay. Now, if religious preference on your hair, whatever, they can't hold that against you, but make that known. But you want your persona to be, look like the part. Okay? Yeah.
Trying to get a job. I'm gonna be in there and ask you questions. You like this? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. You don't like that.
Yeah.
He makes a good point. I'm an officer at the fire department, and we have and as black men, okay, we're gonna be real. You need to make sure you are cognizant of how you present yourself in the professional world. I'm just keeping it real with you, okay? You need to make sure that you present yourself well. Because it doesn't matter what race you are, you got to present yourself well, okay? So there's a young man that just took our test last week, took the second part of our test last week, and he's into the nappy look. So he comes to the fire station, right? He comes Saturday before last, and he wants me to show him it's the physical agility test that he's got to take, okay? So he wants me to show him around the station and how it's going to be. So I showed him, another guy and I, and I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's acting just real jive, okay? Home training, just a lack of home training, okay? I'm not going to hold it against him, but I pulled him to the side when we got done. I said, listen, number one, you need to cut your hair. Okay, the nappy stuff all in your hair, look, that ain't going to work. You're a smart dude, you're passing these tests, but when you get in that interview, that's where the decision's going to be made on you. You can say what you want to, it's just real. So I said, another thing you got to do, quit talking about how many kids you got and what you're doing in the street and all this other. Stop doing that. Come in, be quiet, do your job, be professional.
That's right.
Now, I know that people don't like to necessarily hear it, but it's real, okay? So when these three professionals are sitting in front of you, take in what they're telling you, you guys. Look at how, I'm not saying you got to look like 50, 60-year-old men, I'm not saying that. But at the same time, there's a certain presentation that you absolutely have to make, especially when you go to get a job. Okay, I'll turn it back over to you. Go ahead, bud. Yeah, one at a time. Everybody all of a sudden got his restroom?
No, I just have a quick
One thing about it, if you get a good education, and I told my children all through school, I said, look, that teacher has already been where you're trying to get to.
Yep.
See, so when you come and tell me that it's the teacher's fault, my antennas automatically go up. Why is it the teacher's fault? What are you doing to tell me that it's the teacher's fault? If there's something you don't understand, you need to ask questions, okay? But that's one thing about our young black men. See, when it comes to your education level, and like Tyrese, he's in high school now. You're in high school also? You go to Springfield High? Okay, so see, you're almost at the end of the road when it comes to high school.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely need to put your best foot forward, okay? And as you learn, as you gain knowledge, okay, your vocabulary automatically changes, okay? Your outlook changes when it comes to a work ethic, being dependable, okay, being on time. You know what I'm saying? That starts all in school, in the home, okay? So you got to think about that. Think about that. Do a good job, young man. Do a good job.
Y'all can do it.
Yes. Yes, you can.
Y'all can do it.
Yes, you can.
Like I said, man, no right from wrong, and
That's right.
the choice of tens,
That's
you be
right.
okay.
That's right.
We can sit here and talk about it all day, but
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna start from this day forward. And like the saying says, what you do in the dark will come to the light.
That's right. That's right.
So, just be yourself, man. Be yourself. It's good talking to you fellas.
Yeah.
I really, like I told Bruce, tell Brother Robbie, when Mikilos called me, I couldn't wait to get here. I couldn't wait, man. Like, if this is my way to help, I don't mind doing it.
Right.
I really don't. And when we talking because we mean this.
Right.
Look at us.
That's right.
Doesn't mean because we all black, we supposed to be in prison.
Right. That's right.
Break that cycle.
That's right.
Nah.
You can't blame other people for the
No,
choices
that's
they make.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I
right.
said. If you do something, you gotta take the hit for it.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
Your Captain Portis and him took his time to
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming, man. We really appreciate it. Yes, sir.